Hey everybody, so I wanted to go through briefly how to make the perfect keto muffin. I'm not going to go through the whole recipe and show you how to mix up the ingredients because I'm sure you know how to do that. And I have the recipe for you down below this video, but I wanted to show you something that makes a huge difference in terms of what your muffins look like and how you can tweak your recipe slightly if you're using another recipe. So I made 2 batches of these muffins, okay? This one right here is, and they both taste almost identical, but this one, if you can notice, the top is kind of bumpy and is not really, you know, like a nice dome muffin. And then this one has kind of the perfect dome muffin top. The recipe again is almost identical. There's just a very small tweak to get from this muffin to this muffin, okay? So this batter right here, if you can see, it's pretty thick, okay? And some muffin recipes are this thick for their batter. And this is, you know, it's perfectly fine. It tastes great, but it resulted in this muffin, okay? So it's not as aesthetically pleasing. This batter right here, you can see it's much runnier. And it's not a matter of just adding liquid, okay? There's a delicate combination between the flours and the liquid. So the only difference between these two, and again, if you look at the recipe that I provided for you, the recipe is for this one. And the flour is almond flour. And then oftentimes for keto muffins, people will use an additional flour, a much smaller amount of either coconut flour or in this case, oat fiber. And if you've never used oat fiber before, it's not oat flour, okay? It's a completely different product that's not high in carbs. It's literally just fiber, but it works great in baking, similar to how you might use coconut flour, but sometimes I prefer to just not have anything coconut related in recipes. So same amount of almond flour, same amount of all the ingredients except for the oat fiber, and then I added something additional in here. So they both have 1 cup and a quarter of almond flour. This one right here has 1/4 cup of oat fiber, and this one only has 2 tablespoons worth. And then I added 4 tablespoons of butter into this one, okay? So coconut flour and oat fiber oftentimes will suck up liquid. And so you have to keep that in mind when you're using them in baking. They're phenomenal for, you know, muffins and cakes and all that kind of stuff, but they suck up the liquid. And so what happened with this muffin is the ratio of oat fiber, or again, you can substitute coconut flour, but the ratio to oat fiber to the liquids was not appropriate. And so while this one tastes really, really good, and my family absolutely loves this one too, we kind of did a blind taste test because I wanted to see what their reaction was. I could taste them and they taste almost the same, but it was the same for my family too. Anyway, so this one is a little bit denser because the oat fiber sucked up more of the liquids. And then for this one, when I added 4 tablespoons of melted butter, it fluffed them up just a little bit and made them not as dense. And the flavor, you know, the flavor is almost the same. You can taste a little bit more of the butter in this one, but not a huge amount so. So again, the point of this is, you know, with keto baking, it's kind of hit or miss sometimes until you get the hang of the flours and what the batter should look like and the ratio to the liquids. So if you have a batter that looks more like this, it's going to be more dense and it's not going to fluff up like this. So for the muffins, you know, you don't want it runny, but you want to be able to lift up your spoon and then just kind of have it glop off like that versus, you know, having it stick to the spoon like this one, okay? So that is it. Enjoy the muffin recipe. It's a great base recipe. Now you don't have to use chocolate chips. You can use other stuff in it, but you know, the base recipe is a really good kind of foundational muffin recipe that you can add and tweak and, you know, add your own filler ingredients to, and then, you know, have an absolutely wonderful muffin. So that's it.